Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to discuss Science 1 lecture series, class 10, gravitation lesson part 2. If you have not watched part 1, the link is given in the description box. Let us start with the next section. Kepler's law. We know that ancient times there were no telescope. All the observations of astronomical objects were made with naked eye. After that, Galileo discovered telescope, and with the help of telescope, so many data were collected regarding the position and motion of planets. Johannes Kepler, he studied this data and he found that the motion of planets around the sun, it follows certain laws. He stated the 3 laws describing the planetary motion. These laws are known as Kepler's law. Before studying Kepler's law, you should learn one more term, that is ellipse. What is an ellipse? You all know cone. When this cone is cut by an inclined plane, we will get an ellipse, oval shape. This is called the ellipse. An ellipse has 2 axes. This is the major axis and this is the minor axis. On major axis, 2 fixed points are there, that is F1 and the F2. These points are called the focus of the ellipse. The plural form of focus is foci. These are the foci of an ellipse. And it is found that the sum of the distance to the focal point from every point on the curve is a constant. That is, A, B, and C are 3 different points on the ellipse. The distance between, sum of the distance between the 2 focal points, that is A F1 plus A F2, that will be equal to B F1 plus B F2, that will be equal to C F1 plus C F2. It always remains a constant. Remember this word. Sum of the distance to the 2 focal point from every point on the curve is a constant. This is called an ellipse. Now we'll discuss about Kepler's law. Kepler's first law. It is also known as law of orbit. If you know this name, you can easily remember the law of orbit means orbit of the planet is an ellipse. Orbit means the path of the planet. The planet is revolving around the sun and this path is an ellipse with sun at one of the foci. We know that 2 focal points are there in an ellipse. Sun will be at any one of the focus and the planet is revolving around the sun in an elliptical orbit. Position of sun is indicated by S. So this is known as law of orbit, means orbit of the planet is an ellipse with sun at one of the foci. Is that clear? Now next is Kepler's second law. According to Kepler's second law, line joining the planet and the sun sweeps equal areas in equal interval of time. Sweeps means covers. It covers equal area in equal interval of time. For example, the position of the planet is at A. Okay. After 24 hours, it reaches the position B. Now, from here, the initial position and this is the final position, a line is joined to the sun. The area covered by the planet within this time, that is 24 hours, is ASB. Area covered is ASB. This is the area of the planet within 24 hours. Area of ASB. Now, this is the position of planet. Okay, C. After 24 hours, again, we are calculating the area covered. After 24 hours, it reaches the point B. And the area covered by the planet with the sun is CSB. D. Area CSD. It is found that these two areas are equal. Time interval is equal. Within this time interval, the area covered by the planet is equal. This is called the Kepler's second. That is, the line joining the planet and the sun sweeps, that is, covers equal areas in equal interval of time. If you are taking another point, E and F, position of planet is at E. After 24 hours, it reaches the position F. Again, we are calculating the area ESF. This will also be equal to area ESF. This area will also be equal because the time interval is equal. That is, in equal time interval, the planet covers equal areas. This is called Kepler's second. Kepler's second law is also known as law of equal areas. Equal area. Of equal area means the line joining planet and the sun sweeps equal areas in equal interval of time. Is that clear? Now, Kepler's third. Square of the period of revolution around the sun is directly proportional to cube of the mean distance of a planet from the sun. Next law is related to law of period. Time period, the time taken by the planet is called what? A period. Square of period of revolution. If T is the period of revolution, then square of period is T square, is directly proportional to cube of mean distance. If R is the mean distance, then cube of mean distance means R cube. We know that to remove the proportionality sign, we have to multiply this by a constant. That is, T square is equal to K into R cube, where K is a constant. Or we can write T square upon R cube is a constant K. K is a constant. This is Kepler's third. Remember this equation, then you can easily define Kepler's third law. T square proportional to R cube. That is, square of T means period of revolution. So square of period of revolution is directly proportional to cube of mean distance of planet from the sun. So these are the three laws stated by Kepler. Law of orbit means the orbit of the planet is an ellipse fixed at one of the foci. Second law is known as law of equal area. That is, the line joining planet and the sun sweeps equal areas in equal interval of time. Third law is T square proportional to R cube. That is, square of period of revolution is directly proportional to cube of mean distance of planet from the sun. I hope Kepler's law is clear to you. Now, next is Newton's universal law of gravitation. We have learned about gravitation, force of attraction between two objects in the first section. Now, according to Newton, every object in the universe will attract every other object with a definite force. Consider two objects of mass m1 and m2. They are separated by a distance, or they are at a distance d from each other. Okay, according to Newton, every object in the universe will attract every other object with an attractive force. And Newton found that this force is directly proportional to product of their mass. It is directly proportional to product of their masses. So let the force be F, force of attraction between the two objects be F. Now, according to Newton's universal law of gravitation, he found that the force is directly proportional to product of their mass. That is directly proportional to, here mass of the object is m1 and m2, so we can write m1, m2. Okay, equation number 1. And also inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. This force is inversely proportional, means that should come in the denominator. So inversely proportional to, here the distance is d, so d square will come. Okay. So 1 upon d square, equation number 2. Now see the LHS of this equation, F. So we can combine this equation. That is F proportional to M1 M2 upon D square. We know that to remove the proportionality constant, if you want to put equal to sign, you have to multiply by a constant. Here we are multiplying by capital G. Capital G into M1 M2 upon D square. Equation number 3, where G is a constant called universal gravitational constant, where G is universal gravitational constant. Okay, and this value will remain constant throughout the universe, and its value is found to be 6.673 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square per kilogram square. Per kilogram square, or you can write Newton meter square kilogram raised to minus 2. When we are taking kilogram to the numerator, it will become kilogram raised to minus 2. So this constant, this value you have to learn, 6.673 into 10 raised to minus 11. This force is new, called gravitational force of attraction between two objects. This is the formula for calculating the gravitational force of attraction between any two objects. F is equal to G M1 M2 upon R square. Now see, F is directly proportional to product of the mass and inversely proportional to square of the distance. That means if mass increases, or if the mass is doubled, force will also double. If distance increases, distance between the two bodies increases, force will decreases, because distance is in the denominator, or it is inversely proportional. Inversely proportional means one increases, other one will decrease. I hope it is clear to you. This is very important. State and derive Newton's universal law of gravitation. Now, let us discuss the top questions from this section. State Kepler's law. It can come for 3 marks. You have to explain all the 3 laws. Now, state Newton's law of gravitation. If it is coming for 2 mark question, you have to write the statement and equation. If it is for 3 marks question, then you have to draw the diagram and explain. You have to derive the formula for F. F is equal to G M1 M2 upon T square, and you have to write the statement also. What is the unit of universal gravitational constant? Universal gravitational constant unit is Newton meter square per kilogram square, and its value is 6.673 into 10 raised to minus 11. I hope you understood this section. If you like the video, please do comment and share with your friends and classmates.